I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to be saved by you. I can't live with what you were. I can't carry this. I can't. Her phone rings. She ignores it. It rings again. She pulls it out. Voice assistant announces, "Incoming call, flower shop security system." She answers. Automated voice, "Motion detected. Front door. Armed response dispatched." What? I'm not at the shop. She hangs up. Even now, even trying to die, I'm worried about the flowers. We just started with a woman trying to end her life, and I need you to understand why we did that. Welcome to AfroKorean Real Tales TV. If this start of the story has got you emotionally curious and hooked, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is about to take you on a roller coaster of emotions, and you do not want to scroll away. And do well to comment where you're watching from. Let me tell you how Thandiwe ended up on that rooftop and how a man named Kang Min-jae died saving her. 6 months before the rooftop, Thandiwe Kumalo had been born blind in Cape Town and learned early that the world was made of textures, temperatures, and scents that sighted people missed entirely. Flowers became her language. Roses felt different from lilies. Jasmine smelled nothing like lavender. Chrysanthemums had edges that told stories, sharp when fresh, soft when dying. She learned every flower by touch and smell before she learned their names, and by the time she was 12, she could identify 60 different species blindfolded, which was redundant since she was always blindfolded by birth. She moved to Seoul at 28. Followed a man who promised forever and delivered 18 months before deciding he couldn't handle her blindness anymore. She stayed anyway, built a small flower shop in Yongsan with savings and stubbornness and the specific courage of a woman who'd already survived being left. Thandiwe's garden opened on a Tuesday in March. Small shop, wooden floors. She knew every inch of it by heart within a week, could navigate from door to counter to back room without her cane, using only muscle memory and spatial awareness. Customers learned quickly. Don't move the furniture, speak when you enter, let her touch the flowers you want to discuss. Most people were patient, some weren't. She kept the shop anyway. Kang Min-jae walked in on a Thursday afternoon, 6 weeks after opening. She heard the door, the specific bell she'd chosen because its tone told her exactly when someone entered. Heard footsteps, measured, deliberate, a man's weight. "Welcome to Thandiwe's garden," she said in Korean. Her accent still carried Cape Town in its vowels, but the words were clear. "How can I help you?" Silence. Then, "I need flowers." His voice was quiet, deep, the kind of voice that sounded like it didn't speak often. "For what occasion?" She was already moving toward the counter, fingers trailing the edge to orient herself. "A funeral." "I'm sorry for your loss." She said it because people expected it. "Were they close to you?" Pause. "No, I didn't know them." Interesting. Most people who bought funeral flowers knew the deceased. "What kind of flowers would you like?" "What do you recommend?" "That depends. Traditional Korean, something more personal. What feeling are you trying to convey?" Another pause. She was learning his rhythm. He thought before speaking, like words cost something. "Respect," he said finally, "and ending. Clean ending." Thandiwe nodded. Moved to the chrysanthemum section, she knew it by the third shelf, second row, the way she knew everything in her shop. "White chrysanthemums," she said, pulling a stem, feeling its freshness. "Traditional for Korean funerals. They represent truth, devoted love, and grief. Also," she paused, considered, "they mean you've been honest with me in some older meanings. Clean endings, like you said." Perfect. She arranged them while he waited, heard him breathing, steady, controlled, like someone who'd learned to regulate everything, heard him shift his weight once, heard him not speak. Some customers filled silence with chatter. He left it alone. She appreciated that. "How much?" he asked when she finished. She told him, heard him counting bills, paper, not card, cash customer. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome. I'm Tandiwe, by the way. I own the shop." Minjae. "Will you need more arrangements, Minjae? I can set aside chrysanthemums if you think you'll be back." Pause. "Yes, I'll be back." He came back the following Thursday, same time, same flowers. "Another funeral?" she asked. "Yes." "I'm sorry, that's a lot of loss." "It's my job." She didn't understand, but didn't ask. People had their reasons for privacy. He came the Thursday after that, and the one after that. Always white chrysanthemums, always the same quiet voice, always cash. By the 6th week, she'd started preparing his arrangement ahead of time, heard the door at 3:15 p.m. on Thursdays and knew it was him without asking. "You're early," she said. The funeral was moved. "Were you close to this person?" "No." "Do you go to a lot of funerals, Minjae?" Pause. Longer this time. "It's complicated." "Most things are." She heard something in his breathing, a small sound that might have been amusement. "You're different," he said. "Different how?" "I can't see you," she said simply, "so I have to accept what you tell me or not accept anything and just let you be whoever you are when you're here." Another pause. Then, "What's it like?" "What's what like?" Not seeing. Most people didn't ask. Most people tiptoed around it or asked intrusive questions badly. His question was direct, curious, not pitying. "It's like," she thought, "it's like everyone else is reading a book and I'm listening to it. Same story, different experience. I miss some things, but I notice other things you probably don't. Like, you shift your weight to your left foot when you're thinking, and you breathe differently when you first come in versus when you're leaving. You notice that? I notice everything I can. It's how I see." "What do you notice about me?" She smiled. "You're careful, controlled. You think before speaking. You're probably handsome, but I wouldn't know. You pay in cash, which means you either prefer privacy or you work somewhere that pays in cash. You come every Thursday for funeral flowers, which means either you're a funeral director or something else entirely. And you're sad. You try to hide it, but your voice carries it." Silence. Long silence. Then, "I'm not a funeral director." "I didn't think so." "What did you think?" "That you're complicated, like you said." He bought his flowers, left, came back the next Thursday. And for 6 months, that was their rhythm. Every Thursday, same flowers, longer conversations each time. He started asking about her, how she came to Seoul, why flowers, did she miss Cape Town? She started looking forward to 3:15 p.m. Thursdays like they were appointments with something good. She never asked what he did. He never told her he killed people for a living. The Thursday he didn't come, Tandiwe waited until 4 p.m. before accepting he wasn't showing up. 6 months. 24 Thursdays in a row. He'd never missed one. She told herself it didn't matter. He was a customer. Customers came and went. The fact that she'd started thinking of him as more than that, as the week's most reliable presence, as the voice she looked forward to, as someone who saw her instead of her blindness, was her problem, not his. She closed the shop at 6 p.m., walked home using her cane and the mental map she'd built of the 6 blocks between work and her small apartment, made tea, sat by the window she couldn't see out of but liked to sit by anyway because the air felt different there, tried not to think about why his absence felt like loss. He didn't come the next Thursday either, or the one after that. By the 3rd missed Thursday, she'd accepted it. Whatever their strange ritual had been, it was over. People left. She knew this. Her ex had taught her this. The world kept turning. She focused on her shop, on other customers, on the arrangements that filled her days with purpose, if not joy. The chest pains started small. A tightness after climbing stairs, breathlessness when she carried heavy flower buckets. She ignored it. She was 34, healthy, just stressed from running a business alone. Then one morning, she collapsed in her shop. Woke up in the hospital, doctors speaking rapid Korean that her fluency still struggled with under stress, her neighbor who'd found her translating in broken English. Heart, problem, very serious. The cardiologist, Dr. Park, patient voice, kind hands when checking her pulse, explained in slower Korean she could follow. Dilated cardiomyopathy. Her heart was enlarged, weakened, failing. Had probably been developing for years. She'd need a transplant. How long? She asked. For the transplant list? Could be months, could be years. We'll do everything we can to keep you stable while we wait. And if we don't find one? Dr. Park's silence was answer enough. 8 weeks on the transplant list. 8 weeks of medications that made her dizzy, of weakness that turned flower arranging into an exhausting task, of nights lying awake feeling her heart struggling, wondering if each beat might be one of the last. Her shop hours reduced to mornings only. Her neighbor helped when she could. Tandiwe learned a new kind of darkness. Not the visual kind she'd always known, but the internal kind, the darkness of a body giving up. She thought about Min-jae sometimes, wondered where he'd gone, why he'd stopped coming, whether he'd found another florist for his funeral flowers. It felt stupid to miss someone she'd never even seen, someone who bought flowers and talked to her for 20 minutes every Thursday and nothing more. But she missed him anyway. Week 9, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. She was in the shop, barely, sitting on the stool behind the counter because standing took too much energy, when the door opened. She knew that footstep pattern before he spoke. Tandiwe. Min-jae's voice. But different. Rougher. Strained. "You're back," she said. Tried to keep her voice neutral. Failed. "I'm sorry I disappeared." "It's fine. You don't owe me." "I do." He came closer. She heard it. "I owe you an explanation. But first, are you okay? You sound different." "I'm fine." Tandiwe. The way he said her name, like he knew she was lying. "I'm sick," she said finally. "Heart failure. I'm on a transplant list, but I'm managing." Silence. The kind of silence that has weight. "How long have you been sick?" "It got bad about 2 months ago." "When I stopped coming?" "Yes, but that's not... Those things aren't connected." "I should have been here." "Min-jae, you're a customer. You don't..." "I'm not a customer." His voice was sharp now, almost angry. "I haven't been a customer in months. I've been..." He stopped. Started again. "I need to tell you something." "Okay." "Not here. Can you close the shop? Just for an hour, please?" Something in his voice made her agree. He took her to a cafe 3 blocks away. She ordered tea she couldn't drink, her stomach too nervous. He ordered coffee he heard him not touch. "I'm going to tell you something," he said, "and you're going to want to leave, but I need you to hear all of it first." "You're scaring me." "I know. I'm sorry." He breathed. "The funerals, the flowers I bought every week, they weren't for people I knew. They were for people I killed." Tendiwe's hands went still on her teacup. "I'm an assassin," he continued, voice flat, factual. "I work for a Korean organization. I've worked for them for 12 years. I kill people. That's my job. That's who I am." She should have stood up, should have left, should have called someone. She stayed sitting. "Why tell me this?" "Because I'm dying." Simple, direct. "Lung cancer, stage 4, aggressive. I found out 2 months ago. I have maybe 6 weeks, maybe less." "Min-jae." "And I needed you to know, because for 6 months, every Thursday, you were the only good thing in my week, the only person who talked to me like I was human, who made me feel like maybe I could be something other than what I am." His voice cracked. "I'm sorry I brought this to you. I'm sorry I let myself come back every week when I knew I shouldn't. I'm sorry." "Why tell me now?" Her own voice was shaking. "Why come back to tell me you're dying, and you're a killer, and..." What am I supposed to do with this information? Nothing. I just needed you to know before I... He stopped. I needed someone to know I existed, really existed, not the man who kills people, just Min-jae, the man who bought flowers from you. That's real. That was real. She sat with that, with all of it, with the impossibility of feeling grief for someone she shouldn't mourn. I have to go, she said finally. I understand. She stood, used her cane to navigate out, walked home, sat in her apartment, and cried for a man who killed people and loved her enough to tell her the truth. 2 weeks later, Min-jae died. 3 days after that, Tendiwe got the call. A heart was available. Perfect match. Emergency surgery scheduled. She survived the transplant. 1 week later, the hospital informed her of her donor's identity. Kang Min-jae, age 36, registered organ donor. Cause of death? Cancer. He'd given her his heart. Literally. The men came to her hospital room on day 6 post-surgery. 2 of them. Expensive suits, cold faces, the kind of men who didn't ask permission to enter spaces. Thyondiwe was awake, barely, still weak from surgery, chest bandaged, heart monitor beeping steadily with a rhythm that wasn't hers. Couldn't see them, but heard them, felt the temperature in the room change. Thyondiwe Kumalo, Korean accent, formal, dangerous. Yes, who are you? We worked with Kang Min-jae. Pause. We understand you have something that belonged to him. Her hand moved to her chest instinctively, over the bandages, over the heart. I don't know what you're talking about. His heart. You received his heart. She said nothing, fear crawling up her spine. Before he died, the man continued, Min-jae gave us instructions. He wanted you protected, made us promise. We honor that promise. I don't need protection. You have a dead man's heart, our organization's former asset. There are people who would be interested in that, in you. We're here to make sure they don't get interested. I didn't ask for this. Her voice shook with anger now, not fear. I didn't ask for his heart. I didn't ask to be part of whatever world you people live in. I just wanted to survive. And you did, because of him. The second man's voice, softer. He loved you. Don't know if you knew that, but he did. Talked about you, the florist who saw him without seeing him. He was a killer. Yes. He murdered people. Yes. And now I'm alive because of that, because his heart, a killer's heart, is keeping me breathing. She was crying now, couldn't help it. How am I supposed to live with that? Silence. Then the first man. That's not our problem to solve. Our problem is keeping you alive, Min-jae's last wish. We'll have someone watching your shop, your apartment. You won't see them, but they'll be there. I don't want... Doesn't matter what you want. You have his heart. That makes you family. We protect family. They left without another word. She was discharged a week later. Went home, went back to work, reduced hours, careful movements, learning to trust a heart that felt foreign in her chest. Every beat felt like betrayal, like evidence, like carrying a murder weapon that kept her alive. Customers came. She arranged flowers, smiled, spoke, functioned, and hated every moment. Dr. Park called weekly. How are you feeling? Fine. Your vitals are excellent. The heart is functioning beautifully. You're healing ahead of schedule. Great. Thyondiwe, I can hear it in your voice. You're struggling with this emotionally. That's normal. Have you considered speaking with our transplant counselor? No. It might help. Many recipients struggle with... He was a killer, Dr. Park. She said it flatly. My donor, Kang Min-jae, he told me before he died. He killed people for a living. And now his heart is in my chest keeping me alive, and I can't. She couldn't finish. Dr. Park was quiet for a moment. I can't imagine how complicated that feels. I want it removed. What? The heart. I want it removed. I don't want to live with this. Fiondoe, that's not medically. I don't care. I can't live with a killer's heart. I can't carry this. You'll die without it. Your own heart is gone. This is your only option. Then maybe that's okay. It's not okay. Dr. Park's voice was firm now. You survived for a reason. Whether you accept that reason or not, you're alive. Don't waste that. Fiondoe hung up. Weeks passed, then months. The heart beat, she breathed, she existed, but she wasn't living. She was surviving, and there's a difference. She stopped going to the shop regularly. Her neighbor took over most of the operations. Better she run it than let it die completely. Fiondoe stayed home, felt the heart beat, wondered why Min-jae had done this. Why save her? Why give her his heart? What did he think that would prove? That killers could love? That murder could be redeemed by one good act? That she should be grateful? She wasn't grateful. She was angry, trapped, alive in a way she hadn't chosen. At night, she'd lie awake feeling his heart, not hers, his, pumping blood through her body, keeping her conscious, keeping her trapped in a life she didn't want anymore. 3 months post-transplant. She'd stopped answering calls, stopped leaving her apartment except for medical appointments she couldn't miss, stopped touching flowers because they reminded her of him, of Thursdays, of white chrysanthemums and a voice that had been kind, and hands that had killed. Her neighbor knocked one evening. "Tindiwe, you have to eat. I brought jjajangmyeon." "I'm not hungry." "You're never hungry. You're going to make yourself sick." "I'm already sick." "You're healed. Physically, I have a dead man's heart, a killer's heart. I'll never be healed." Her neighbor was quiet. Then, "He saved your life." "He ruined it." "How?" "Because now I have to live knowing that my life cost his death, that every breath I take is because of what he was, that I'm alive because a killer decided I was worth saving. What does that make me?" "Human," her neighbor said softly. "It makes you human, complicated and angry and alive. That's all it makes you." Tindiwe didn't answer. Her neighbor left the food. Tindiwe let it get cold. 4 months post-transplant. She went back to the hospital, found Dr. Park. "I want to know the medical reality," she said. "Can a transplanted heart be removed?" "Tindiwe, can it?" Dr. Park sighed. "Theoretically, yes. But you'd need another heart to replace it. You'd be back on the transplant list, waiting, possibly dying before another match is found. It's not a viable option." "What if I don't want another heart? What if I just want it removed?" "Then you die, quickly. That's not a medical procedure. That's suicide." "Maybe that's what I want." "Is it?" Tindiwe stood there, didn't answer because she didn't know. Dr. Park's voice was gentle. "Go home. Think about this. If you still feel this way in a week, we'll talk about psychiatric support. But Tindiwe, don't make permanent decisions based on temporary pain. It's not temporary. This heart beats every second of every day. That's permanent. So is death." That night, Tindiwe went to the rooftop, where we started, where the flowers would find her. The flower shop looked exactly as she'd left it. Dark, locked, safe, except for the white chrysanthemums at the door. Tindiwe knelt carefully, still healing, chest still tight from surgery and from what she'd almost done on that rooftop. Her hands found the bouquet. Fresh, recently cut, arranged with skill. Not random flowers, intentional ones. Her fingers found the card attached, small, heavy paper, writing she couldn't read. She pulled out her phone, used the accessibility feature, camera pointed at the card, AI voice reading aloud. "These flowers mean truth. You taught me that. Here's mine. I killed 37 people in 12 years. I can't undo that. I won't pretend those deaths don't matter. But every Thursday for 6 months, you made me remember I was human, not just the violence. You saw past what I couldn't see past in myself. You asked what flowers mean. Let me tell you what these ones mean to me. You were honest with me. I was never honest with you, until the end. I'm sorry it took dying to tell you the truth. I'm sorrier that my truth became your burden. But Tandiwe, beloved, if you're reading this, you're alive. That means my heart worked. That means something I destroyed so much with managed to save something. Maybe that doesn't fix anything. Maybe it makes it worse. But you're breathing, and I need you to know that was the only good thing I ever did. Don't waste it hating me. I did enough of that for both of us. Minjae. The AI voice stopped. Tandiwe sat on her shop's doorstep holding flowers and a dead man's words. Cried. Really cried. For the first time since the surgery. Not angry tears, not bitter tears. Something else. Grief. Real grief. For a man who killed and loved and died and saved her and left her with the impossible task of deciding what any of it meant. She stayed there until her neighbor found her at 1 a.m. Tandiwe? He left flowers. Her voice was wrecked. He planned this. Before he died, he left me flowers and a letter, and I was about to... Her neighbor sat beside her, held her while she cried. I don't know how to live with this, Tandiwe whispered. I don't know how to be grateful and horrified at the same time. I don't know how to carry a killer's heart and call it mine. Maybe you don't have to figure it out tonight. When then? Tomorrow, next week, next year, however long it takes. What if it never makes sense? Her neighbor squeezed her hand. Then it never makes sense. But you're still here. That still matters. 6 months later, Tandiwe stood in her shop. Full hours now. Strength returned. The heart, Minjae's heart, her heart, both, neither, beat steadily. She'd started a new section in the shop. White chrysanthemums. Always in stock. She sold them for funerals, for truth, for complicated endings. Every Thursday at 3:15 p.m., she set aside one bouquet, put it in the back room, let it sit until it wilted, then composted it and started again. A ritual, a remembrance, an acceptance she was still learning. Dr. Park had been right. The pain wasn't permanent. It changed shape, became something she could carry instead of something that crushed her. She still had days where she hated the heart, days where she pressed her hand to her chest and felt betrayal in every beat, days where she wondered if living was worth this weight. But she also had days where she arranged flowers and felt grateful her hands could still do this. Days where customers came in and she helped them find beauty for their moments. Weddings, funerals, apologies, celebrations. Days where she existed and it felt like enough. The Mafia men still watched. She never saw them, but knew they were there. Minjae's last wish playing out in protection she hadn't asked for, but sometimes appreciated. Once she asked the shadow she knew was following her, Why? Why keep protecting me? He's gone. The shadow's voice came from somewhere behind her. Because he asked us to, and because you matter. To him, that makes you matter to us. I don't want to matter because of what he was. Then matter because of what you are. A woman who survived, who kept her shop open, who makes beauty out of death. That's worth protecting, too. She'd kept walking, but heard the words. 1 year post-transplant. Anniversary of the surgery. Anniversary of Minjae's death. Same day. Forever linked. Tandiwe went to his grave. First time. Her neighbor drove her, helped her find it in the cemetery. Simple stone. His name in Korean. Birth and death dates. Nothing else. She knelt, placed white chrysanthemums. I don't know if I've forgiven you, she said aloud. I don't know if I can forgive 37 people dying. I don't know if your heart saving me balances any of that or makes it more complicated. Wind moved through the cemetery. Soul sounds in the distance. But I'm alive, and some days that feels like enough. Some days I even feel grateful. Not to you, not to what you were, but to the universe for the timing, for the match, for the chance to keep existing. She touched the stone, cold granite. Your heart beats in my chest every day. I've stopped trying to call it mine or yours. It's just the heart now. The heart that keeps me breathing. The heart that let you do one good thing before you died. She stood, steadied herself. I'm going to live, Min-jae, really live, not just survive. I'm going to make this mean something, not because you owe me, but because I owe myself. The woman I was before your heart, the woman I'm becoming with it. She turned to leave, paused. Thank you, and I'm sorry. Both things. Always both things. 2 years post-transplant. Dundiwe expanded the shop, hired help, started teaching flower arranging to visually impaired students, showing them what she'd learned, that beauty exists in dimensions sight can't measure. She dated someone briefly. It didn't work out, not because of the heart, just because some connections don't take root. She was okay with that. She visited Min-jae's grave twice a year, not out of obligation, out of acknowledgement. He'd been part of her story, the most complicated part, but part of it. The chrysanthemums she left got easier to place. The words got shorter. Eventually just, still here, still complicated, still trying. She learned that carrying someone's heart didn't mean carrying their sins, that being alive because of violence didn't make her violent, that gratitude and horror could coexist and both be true. Some truths were simple. She was blind. She arranged flowers. She survived. Some truths were complicated. A killer loved her. His heart saved her. She would spend the rest of her life figuring out what that meant. Both truths were hers now. She was Thundiwe, beloved, and she was learning, slowly, imperfectly, daily, to believe she was worthy of the name. I need a second after that. Tandiwe got a killer's heart, and she had to decide if being alive was worth carrying that weight. And the answer was complicated, which is the most honest answer I think we can give. Here's what I keep thinking about, and I want you to really sit with this. How many of us are living lives we didn't choose? How many of us are carrying things we didn't ask for? Trauma, grief, circumstances, other people's choices that became our reality. Tandiwe didn't choose to need a heart transplant, didn't choose for her donor to be an assassin, didn't choose to fall in love with someone she never saw, who turned out to be the most complicated person imaginable. Sometimes the things that save us are that small, that random. A security alert, a bouquet, a card we can't even read without help. Hit that subscribe button right now if this story reached something in you. Comment one thing you're carrying that you didn't choose. We're building community here. We're reminding each other we're not alone in the wait. You're beloved, even when you don't believe it. Especially then. Until next, see you in the next story.